Well, I'm once again joined by the Andy Godfrey from Sorted Magazine to bring us some movie reviews today. Hello, Andy. How are you?
Hey Nathan, it's good to see you. Greetings from a very sunny Milton Keynes. Makes
Yes,
a nice
it's
change.
it's very sunny here as well. It's actually very hot.
Yes, yeah, it's really warm here as well. So perfect day for going to the cinema.
It is. Yeah, it's great to see you again. And of course, as per last week, we'll have a look at some more of the latest movies, and you can tell us about them. So, would
Yeah.
you like to take it away?
Okay, so there have been three new releases this week. One of them is a PG certificate, and the other two are 12A. So they're quite family friendly. So the first one that I saw last Saturday actually was Despicable Me 4. So this, as people will know, the Despicable Me films feature the Minions. Now, I love the Minions. I think they are the greatest slapstick comedy creation since Charlie Chaplin. Um, Tiny little yellow creatures that wear dead and have got great big eyes and speak in a really funny language. And incidentally, by the way, at times there are dozens and dozens of minions on screen, but just one man does all the voices.
Wow.
So that's quite amazing recording feat. So Despicable Me 4, in the previous films, we met a character called Gru, who wanted to be a supervillain when he was a child. At the age of 12, he stole the crown jewels. That was in an earlier film. He's got his minions who help him. But Gru is now working for the Anti-Villain League, and he manages to get a baddie, a villain, who calls himself the Cockroach, arrested. The Cockroach is put in prison, but escapes and vows revenge. So Gru and his family have to go into, and their minions have to go into hiding. So that's the basic plot of this film.
Okay.
Um, it's at its best when the minions are on the screen. As I said, I love the minions. One of the minions gets trapped in a dispensing machine, and we just see him eating all the packets of crisps and the chocolate and everything else that's in there, and the others having fun at his expense. I thought it was really entertaining, really funny. I laughed out loud several times. Good family film. Not the best in the series. Often, with these things, it's the law of diminishing returns,
Hmm.
So one is great, two is okay, three is not, and so on. But everybody I've spoken to, I was with a group of friends who are film buffs on Monday evening in London, and we've all thoroughly enjoyed it and had a great time. So Despicable Me 4 is out in cinemas. You can take Granny, you can take the kids. It really is a good family fun time at the cinema. Another new film out this weekend, Nathan, is Twisters. So back in 1996, a film came out called Twister, which was about people in America chasing tornadoes, trying to find out why a tornado forms, what makes a tornado tick, what keeps the tornado spinning, and can we destroy a tornado? So this film picks up many years later with the daughter of one of the original characters. She's out chasing tornadoes with there are several rival groups that are chasing tornadoes. They want to be the first to get the information lowdown on the tornado,
Uh,
And she hooks up with somebody, ends up hooking up with somebody from a rival group, and they fall in love. The mushy stuff, the in between stuff, is a bit meh. I could take it or leave it. But the action with the twisters is really quite spectacular. There's one point where people are hiding in the cinema, and the tornado comes along and smashes his cinema to bits, and everybody ends up crawling out through what was the screen back into the open air. It's spectacular. It's noisy. It's very, very loud. I mean, I'm 62 and I did come out with a headache. But generally speaking, it's getting very favourable reviews. I thought the twisters were really well done, really spectacular action. Um, really exciting to see the Twisters. Great score, and I thought that was really really good. So thumbs up for that as well. Twisters, and then the third new film out this week, Nathan, is a film called Fly Me to the Moon, and this is set in 1969. Now, I there was a film some years ago called Capricorn One. I don't know if you know that film, where man had got to Mars and everybody's watching on their TVs, the first men walking on Mars.
oh wow.
Actually, they weren't. They were in a TV studio, and the whole thing was a setup. This film says, well, what if we didn't get to the moon in 1969? What if Neil Armstrong was actually in a TV studio and the whole world was being fooled? Now, we know that Neil Armstrong did get to the moon. This film has got other actors in a TV studio, and this film suggests that what the Americans did was, in case the moon landing went wrong, they filmed a fake moon landing so that they wouldn't look bad in the eyes of the Russians, because this really was a race to see who could get to the moon first. And it's also about the American public in 1969, believe it or not, were not overexcited about space and going to the moon, because the Vietnam War was happening. Lots of their lads were being killed. Some dreadful things were happening. And people were saying, the money that we're spending on going to the moon, we should be spending it on building hospitals. We should be spending it on building new schools and so on and so forth, you know? So the film deals with that as well. And it's not based on a true story, but it's inspired by a true story of how NASA raised money. So at one point, we see the astronauts are wearing Amiga watches, and Amiga, it is suggested, put a lot of money into NASA. If your astronauts will wear our watches on the moon, we will give you some money, sponsorship, basically.
Oh,
And you've got a girl who was in charge of this, and she's even ringing up Kellogg's and saying, "Can you put the astronauts on, Rice Krispie packets and Kellogg's cornflakes packets and so on? And if you do so, can you give us some money?" So it's quite a fun film. I really enjoyed it. There's a romance going on between the head of NASA and this girl who's been brought in to sell NASA products, to get sponsorship for NASA. We're seeing it in the cinema. I mean, I love this kind of thing. Absolutely love it. So those are the three films, Nathan, that are out in the cinema at the moment, that I think I would really recommend every one of them. And if people, I mean, it's a beautiful day here in Milton Keynes today, but if people are looking to go to the cinema this weekend and they want to take the kids maybe for a treat, go see Despicable Me 4. It's great fun. Go see Twisters. There's some great action and some great special effects. And go see Fly Me to the Moon for a really good, it's a sort of a rom-com. It's not really, a bit of romance in there, but a really interesting, thought-provoking tale
mm.
about going to the moon in 1969. All of those are 12A and under, so we can recommend them for families listening to Pure, and to everybody. No bad language, nothing like that. Really good, enjoyable family film, and we're blessed at the moment because with Inside Out 2, it's still at number one. We've got a really good crop of films that you could say families can go and see together.
Yeah,
And
that's
to be
great.
honest, it's not every week of the year you can say that.
No. No. Well, thanks so much, Andy. Some good films there. And
Yeah,
I'm personally, I'd say out of those three, Despicable Me 4 excites me the most.
yeah, it's great fun.
The
Just
Minions.
go and
I
have a
mean,
laugh.
to be honest, it's not
Um,
about the rest. It's just the Minions, isn't it?
it is the Minions, and the Minions. I've got a Minions poster up in my kitchen that says "Eat a banana every day," and I think the Minions are just great. And when you see it, and there's this scene, as I say, with one of them trapped inside a vending machine, and the others are having fun at his expense. It's really genuinely funny.
Yeah, brilliant
Genuine. And
slapstick
stay
comedy.
through the end credits because you've got minion antics going on all to the end credit, all through the end credits, right to the very end.
I'll
Yeah,
remember that. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, great fun.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Andy. And would you like to recommend like one film people could watch over the weekend?
Yeah, well, the Olympics are starting, aren't
Okay.
they, shortly?
Yeah.
So there's George Clooney earlier this year brought out a film called The Boys in the Boat. And this is about the 1936 Olympic rowing team, how they got to the Olympics against all odds. I'm not going to say any more than that. When they get to the Olympics, the Germans, because the Olympics were in Germany, this was the Olympics that Hitler presided over,
Oh, wow.
and he was there. And you might know the story that Jesse Owens, a black American athlete, won a medal, and Hitler refused to present it to him because he was black. You
Ah,
know, he was from a lower race as far as Hitler was concerned. This film is about the odds that they faced because they had black people in their team. It's about, and it's based on, it's got very much a Chariots of Fire vibe about it. It's on Amazon Prime. I would say that's the one to watch this weekend. Boys in the Boat, because it will set you up nicely for the Olympics. I'm going to be in Dunstable tomorrow night with a church, and we're doing a sports quiz. And so in lieu of the Olympics and in lieu of the football, and we won't talk about the football and everything else, but this is a really good film. And can I just say, 96 minutes in, there's a scene set in the chemist shop. you'll see a guy in a white coat. That guy is a friend of mine who gets jobs as an extra. He's actually on the back of my book. His name is Bob Mann. He gave us a quote for the back of the book. He reviews films on BBC Radio Solent. So watch out for a bearded guy in a white coat, 96 minutes in, because he's my mate, Bob. But the film itself, there are times, just like with Chariots of Fire, where you felt you were out there running on the track with Eric Liddell and Abrahams, and you felt you were on the track. With this, you feel like you're in the boat. You really do. Straining at the oars, the water coming over the side, the coxswain shouting at you, and it's a true story, and it's just a delight. So to set yourself up for the Olympics, watch The Boys in the Boat about the 1936 American Olympic rowing team.
Awesome. That sounds really good.
Yeah,
I love those films where you really feel you're immersed in the emotions of the characters. Just like Eric Liddell, you
yeah.
really feel his journey as they take you from the beginning to the end. And
Absolutely. I mean, Chariots of Fire is obviously another one to watch this weekend. That's been widely available for a long time. And of course, it's got one of the greatest soundtracks of all time.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever played it on Pure, but to play the theme for the Vangelis theme for Chariots of Fire, it just takes you right there, doesn't it? It
it
takes you
does.
right into the film. You can picture the athletes running. You can picture them running along the beach in Scotland when they're training at the beginning of the film. And Vangelis produced I mean, Vangelis was a remarkable composer and scored some remarkable films. I mean, his score for Blade Runner stands alone. A remarkable film score is when you can play it and it stands alone from the film.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily, but on the other hand, at the same time, a remarkable film score is when it takes you right back into the film and your mind's eye, you begin to picture all the great scenes again.
Mm.
So, yeah, I love Chariots of Fire, and of course, there's that great scene with Eric Liddell preaching.
Yeah.
We when I was pastor of a church, I was pastor of a church during the 2012 Olympics, and we actually showed Chariots of Fire as an outreach event at our big screen in church, and we invited people in, and we served hot dogs and popcorn, and we had quite a few people come in who weren't Christians into our building, into our church,
Oh, cool.
because we showed it for free. And this is one of the things I'm keen to do. As you know, I'm available for churches to book me up to come and speak about movies and show clips from movies and bring the gospel in. But Chariots of Fire, yeah. But Boys in the Boat is exactly the same. It's got that feel about it, it's got that same vibe. It's also got a great score, and George Clooney directs it, and I think it's his best film to date.
Oh,
So I would say go see it. Yeah.
awesome. Well, thanks so much, Andy. So we've got Despicable Me 4 and Twisters, and also what was the third one?
Fly Me to the Moon.
Fly Me to the Moon. So there's
The
the
Moon
three
Landing in
great films.
1960. And they're all family orientated films. I mean, they're
Yeah.
all films you could take the kids to see, you could take Granny to see. There's nothing offensive, no problem with any of those at all. They're all 12A or under. And I think Boys in the Boat was a 12A as well.
Okay.
But it is
Cool.
on Amazon Prime. Yeah,
Excellent. And Boys in the Boat, of course, fits in nicely because Olympics coming up soon.
exactly.
Yeah. So thanks so much, Andy. Some
My
great films.
pleasure.
Look forward to
Okay.
seeing you again next week.
Look forward to. Well, I'm on holiday next week, Nathan,
Oh,
but
yes.
we'll do a double bit the week after because there'll be so many films. Watch out for a film called Thelma, which I'll be talking about next time we meet.
All right, then.
I'm
Cool.
not saying any more than that. Just look it up, Thelma.
Okay.
Good fun.
Thanks so much, Andy. See you
Okay.
again.
My pleasure, Nathan. God bless and God bless Pure.